Hi, this is Amber with chiefhouseholdofficer.info, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own trick-or-treat bag for your kids for Halloween. And this is an example of one that we have that is actually from Pottery Barn Kids, and it's adorable and it's great. It is white, so it has not weared well the last few years, and it was quite expensive given how cheap the material is. I actually went to Joann's, used a coupon, bought a bunch of black felt, seen there, bought some black and white tulle, and then also had some scrap white felt for another project I'm working on. Spent about $5 for all that material, and I'm actually going to be able to make 2 baskets out of that supplies. So the first part is to cut the different pieces based on the measurements that I listed on my website and get all your black pieces cut. To cut the circles, I actually am just taking my measuring tape and putting it so that the point at 3 inches and it's in the center, and then going around and just making dots at all the points, and then I'm going to connect them together because I don't have anything that's a perfect 6 inches anywhere in the house. So I only bought a half a yard of the white tulle and the black tulle, but it must have been on a 72-inch bolt because I folded it in half and cut it on the 18-inch side, and so now I have 2 pieces that are 18 inches, it's my half yard, by 36 inches, which is half of the bolt. And then I'm actually going to fold this in half longwise again, and then do my gathering stitches along the folded edge. If you want to do a scissor design at the bottom of the tulle, which is similar to the other bag that I have, then go ahead and do that now while you have your tulle piece folded. And do that now before you run those gathering stitches in there, else it's going to be a mess and a lot harder to do later. I've probably gone up about 6 inches here to do 6-inch points, and then I'll run the gathering stitches somewhere around here. I was actually able to do just one basted row, and then I'm holding down the one lower string and pushing the fabric along, and it's giving me the ruffled look that I'm looking for. So I'm not even going to worry about a second gather and row stitch. For the white felt, you're going to need the 2 pieces that are 4 by 14, and then you can cut either into a scallop pattern with circles and a cup, or you can cut into zigzag or whatever you think is going to be a cool style to add.
Oh.
And I guess I'm going to let my 3-year-old make the decision on what she wants. I have some extra white, so I just drew on some samples of a ghost, and then I'm going to cut that out and potentially add it onto the side of the basket if it works out. Now is a really good time to do the embroidery if you're going to before you cut the scallop edge, because it's going to be harder as you have less fabric to work with. So because it didn't fit my hoop, what I went ahead and did is the fabric's thick enough that I could have just used a cutaway stabilizer on the back, but I put the cutaway stabilizer on the back, and then I did a water-soluble stabilizer along the front, and that's just going to help hold the fabric here in the hoop when it does the embroidery. To make the scalloped edges along the base, what I did is just took a cup and put some marks on each side where the semicircle should go, and then I'm just tracing that with my disappearing ink marker, and I'll cut that out. Next, you'll need to wet down and press the straps and fold it in half so that you have a nice 1-inch strip, and then go ahead and do a top stitch 1/4 an inch along the 3 open edges of the strap. Measure out the side pieces and mark the spot at 5 and 10 inches, and we're going to do some pleats there. You're pretty much just going to take the fabric and fold it up into a V, and then pin it to sew to the circle base. So what I've done here is I pleated and then I pinned it together with the circle, and I'm trying to make sure I have at least a 1/2 inch of fabric that's overlapping to get my seam allowances in and get the stitching done. So there's just going to be a lot of finagling and trying to pull it together. Okay, now that the bottom is all sewn together, you're just going to fold the 2 sides and do straight line stitch to keep it all close together. Okay, stitch the two sides together to close the basket. For the next step, what I've done is pinned all the pleats that I have for the top of the basket, and I'm just going to run a top stitch along here so it holds in place before I attach the tulle to it. Next, I laid the tulle out on top of the basket, so I alternated having the white triangles and then having the black triangles. And I put the white first, then the black, and then the scalloped felt pieces on top. And then this lined up with the black basket felt, and then the white felt on the outside, and I pinned it together and stitched a 1/2 inch to hold it all together. Trim all the excess tulle on the top so we can prepare for the very last layer. And then fold the longer of the two straps that you cut out in half so that you also have 1 inch on each side, and you're going to press that, and then it's just going to make it easier to sew it onto the top of the basket. I used some of the extra black and orange felt, and I have a little bit of green fabric too because I'm making some pumpkin bean bags. But I just used some of it to put together a very cute, happy-looking little spider and a little pumpkin to put on the side of the baskets. So the final product is this adorable trick-or-treat bag. And you can see the pumpkin that I stitched on the one side, the spider, and then I went ahead and stitched on one of those little ghosts. And you have a great trick-or-treat bag for Halloween.